and keep all of these stations running. We really, really appreciate every single donation and all of the prayers out there. We know that we have such a wonderful prayer army going on out there, and we need these radio stations to combat a lot of the evil that's out there in our world today, but to also really just send forth God's goodness to the world, because so many people need to hear the message of Christ. So please call in today to 785-621-4110 with your donations. That's 785-621-4110. You can also donate at dvmercy.com. So some of the gifts that were given away this Care-a-Thon, if you are a $250 donor or more, you immediately get a Divine Mercy radio oven mitt, and you'll be entered into a drawing for one of these prizes: a ladies' white 14-karat band fashion ring donated by Diamond R Jewelry, a Bose smart speaker donated by Dave and Janet Schmidt, a handmade ladder rosary donated by Dora Liker, a $100 gift certificate to Katz Hallmark donated by Kathy and John Shupman, a $100 gift certificate to Hickok Steakhouse, donated by Oscar Runyon, a men's long sleeve Divine Mercy radio shirt with logo, and a women's Divine Mercy radio shirt with logo, a Divine Mercy statue donated by Luann Brungart. Our $500 donors will receive a chance at all those, plus a 60-second spot celebrating a loved one's birthday, anniversary, baptism, wedding, or any other celebration you can think of. All of our $1,000 donors will receive everything that I listed above already, and the choice of a box of sample wine, which can be hand delivered if you're within our area or know someone that's coming to our area, and that is donated by Resurrection Wines. Plus, you will receive 2 tickets to our annual banquet, which will be held Saturday, September 7th in Hayes and Sunday, September 8th in Colby. And our guest speaker there will be Catholic Answers host Joe Heschmeyer. You are listening in one way or another, but if you need to change ways that you're listening as you're going throughout your day, you can listen to us here on the radio, or you can go to dvmercy.com and listen live, download the app on your smartphone, or you can listen to us on your smart devices in your house, like your Amazon Echo. You just have to say, Alexa, enable Divine Mercy radio skill for whichever area you are in. And then after you say that, you should be able to just say, Alexa, play a Divine Mercy radio in your area. And you can also catch us live on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, as we get rolling this morning, our first caller with a $100 donation during this 7 o'clock hour, we are giving away a book called The Epic Saints: Wild, Wonderful, and Weird Stories of God's Heroes by Sean McAfee. And this is compliments of Heil and Ann Huguenin. They are owners and funeral directors of Hayes Memorial Chapel here in Hayes. Just in a minute, I'll get us to our first trivia question. But first, I want to introduce our guests. And I'm very excited about this interview this morning. They came all the way from, is it Colby you guys came from? Okay, so they came all the way from Colby to be here with us this morning. That's an early time to get up and drive all that way to be here with us and bless us with their testimony. And so we have Ella and Shannon Fikan with us this morning. And Shannon and her 14-year-old daughter, Ella. Ella is the second of 7 children, which is awesome. I have 7 kids, so found something in common already. Yeah. She has 5 brothers and 1 sister. Last year, Ella began her volleyball season in the 8th grade, and she experienced swelling and pain in her right knee that progressively got worse. It was discovered that Ella had osteosarcoma, a form of bone cancer. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied this morning, but I wanted to welcome both of you in this morning. How was the drive?
It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
No problems. Got here on time. That's a blessing. Yeah. What time did you have to get up this morning?
We actually stayed the night at a hotel.
Oh, okay. Well, that was probably a little bit nicer than trying to time it and drive in all the way this morning.
I let Ella drive actually for most of it. She's learning all those things. And I thought, our car is empty of all of our children. I'll let her practice driving on the interstate.
That's a good idea. I have a 15-year-old. We did the same thing. So That is awesome. Well, thank you so very much for being in here with us today. All right, let's get that first trivia question, and then let's get directly to their testimony, because I think this is going to be wonderful. Our first trivia question, which if you want to answer a trivia question or call in a donation or both, call 785-621-4110. Here we go. What took the life of Blessed Chiara Badano at the young age of 18? Was it A, a car accident, B, heart disease, or C, cancer? What took the life of Blessed Chiara Badano at the young age of 18? A, car accident, B, heart disease, or C, cancer? Please call to 785-621-4110. Okay, I had never heard of Blessed. I'm going to try this. At first, I had to ask how to say the first name. Blessed Chiara, is it Luce?
Yeah.
I
Think so?
say Luce. I don't know. It means light, and actually,
Okay.
that was a name given to her by one of her mentors in the
Okay.
how do you say, the movement she was involved in, the movement she was involved in. So that is in addition to her name.
Okay.
If you were to research her online, it talks about her mentor. So
Okay.
it means
Fantastic.
light.
Gotcha. Yeah, just like we hear in the scriptures. Okay, so Blessed Chiara Badano.
Mhm.
All right, so I knew nothing about her. I still know nothing about her. I'm going to have to find out about her from you guys. But first, let's start a little bit about your story. I'm sure that you're going to have different perspectives from daughter and mom, and I'm sure that this has not been an easy road to go down. So can you both kind of tell us what led up to you discovering you had cancer, and how do you take something like that?
Well, it started when I was in my 8th grade year of volleyball. Um, I didn't really notice anything at first, but my mom just noticed me just kind of limping and not using my leg as much. But I made it all the way through the volleyball season, and we were seeing the chiropractor and physical therapist, and they just thought it was like growing pain or like a simple thing for teenagers, but it turned out not to be that.
Okay, so Mom, what was that process like for you?
I think Ella's right. She just it started out just hardly noticeable, and then she said, "Well, my knee is a little sore today," so she would use ice. And then throughout the season, like the chiropractic appointments, the physical therapy, icing, it wasn't doing any good. And so it just progressed into us going to an orthopedic pediatrician, and the imaging that they did revealed the bone cancer in her right tibia. So that was not what we thought was going to happen. When we went in
Yeah.
there, I thought, oh, she's going to need a surgery or come out with a brace or something like that. So that was not even in like a thought in my mind. But when you research our osteosarcoma, it's like telltale signs, like no distinct injury. But it's such a rare cancer. I think it's like 3 in a million per year diagnosed with osteosarcoma.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's, yeah. And our provider locally that had pushed us to go to the specialist in Denver, she said this is the first time anything like that had ever happened to her in all her years of practice. And so she actually kind of took it hard too. So, but we feel very blessed that we just listened to her and did the next thing, so that we could catch it really early for the most part. So
Okay. Now, as a parent, I know that we're always praying for our kids. We're always asking God to keep them healthy, and something like this. This isn't one of our pre-scripted questions or anything, but how did your faith life, kind of play a process in? I mean, first, what was it like for both of you to hear that? I can't imagine. And so somebody who's not been through it, I have to learn from you guys. What's it like to be sitting there in the doctor's office, probably thinking like, you know what, like, well, maybe I have a tendon issue or something like that, and then have them come back and tell you news like that?
I actually didn't hear from the doctor. My mom told
Okay.
my family and me all at once. So I didn't really believe it because I knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know that cancer could do stuff like that.
So kind of shock then, maybe, of like, you said you didn't even really believe it. I mean, I guess I could understand that. Like, wait, what are you talking about? You know, and wow,
Yeah.
Shannon, what did,
So because we live so far away, and most of the specialists were in Denver, we had already traveled, so we received the news by phone. It is shocking, and I think that you kind of go into this mode where, well, at least I did, where you're doing the same things, but it's almost like this out of body experience, like you're driving home from wherever, and you still get home, but this like information is just like fallen upon you, and I just think you kind of, for me, I was like I was a robot walking through all those things, but your mind is reeling like, how do I tell my kid this, but I feel like Brad and I we had a really great solid faith in Jesus, and I feel like, we just knew, like, Christ doesn't promise that you won't have suffering in this world.
Mhm.
So we just really had to surrender all of that to him and just know that he was going to work it for his good. That's easier said now than
Oh my
than at the
goodness.
time.
I was just gonna say, wow. That's
Um,
about, that makes me tear up here a little bit, because that's amazing that you were able to say, okay, you know, that we've done what we can, and we're gonna go through what we can do, but Christ has this.
yeah.
That's amazing.
And it was just really important to make sure, like, that Ella was walking with God through this. And we almost immediately found Blessed Kira as a special someone for her to make that journey
Okay.
with. So
Wow. I don't even really want to break in here, but I'm going
Go
to
ahead.
really quick, just to, because I want more people to learn about Blessed Kiara also. So I'm going to get back to our trivia question really quickly. If you're listening to us this morning, you're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-Thon, His Mercy Endures Forever. We are talking with Ella and Shannon Fikan, and we're going to get back to their story in just a minute. But we haven't gotten a trivia question answer yet. So call into 785-621-4110. That question once again is, what took the life of Blessed Chiara Badano at the young age of 18? Was it A, car accident, B, heart disease, or C, cancer? What took the life of Blessed Chiara Badano at the young age of 18? A, car accident, B, heart disease, C, cancer. Call 785-621-4110. Okay. So I want to get right back to talking about your story a little bit. The one thing I do know from people around me who have gone through cancer treatments and stuff like that is, it's not same really for any one person. That's the one thing that I have learned, even from people who have the same type of cancer. Treatments are very often different. So Ella, can you tell us a little bit about what was your treatment like? What did you have to go through? Things like that.
Well, the whole treatment plan took about 8 months, and each cycle is like you get 2 of the chemos that made you really nauseated and feel sick. And the first time I got that one, I couldn't eat for like 6 days
Oh,
without
wow.
hardly keeping it down. And then I got a week off, and then the next 2 weeks I got the other chemo, and then we started the cycle all over again.
Okay. So did you where did you receive your treatments at, if you don't mind me asking?
St. Luke's.
they call it, oh shoot, I just lost the name. It's the St. Luke's. It's their children's area.
Is
Rocky
that in-
Mountain?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Rocky
over
Mountain.
in Denver?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got all my treatments in Denver.
That's where we started at, is Rocky Mountain. And then midway through, we switched to the Children's Hospital there in Aurora.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So first you got chemo. Now, Do you mind sharing with us? If not, that's okay. Do you mind sharing with us? I mean, you already said, the first time for a whole week you couldn't even eat, which I can't imagine that. But beyond that, were there other things that you really experienced? I've heard that chemo's not fun.
Um, I don't actually remember much at Rocky Mountain because kind of just sat there and just watched TV the whole time, I guess.
Okay.
Well, not the whole time, but
There's probably not a lot you can do, huh?
yeah.
She was there for, let's see, how many treatments would you have been there for? About 12 rounds of chemo.
Okay.
And they have a wonderful facility and passionate doctors. But we realized that they just didn't have enough to engage Ella
Okay.
for her age and her personality. And it got to be hard to just watch her like muddle through those treatments without any motivation to get out of a room and do things. Whereas the Children's Hospital very much caters to all things
Okay.
teens and children and things like that. So as she's saying, her first few treatments, she didn't feel good either. She had a lot of nausea while they were working out what medications helped her and which ones didn't. Some kids, they like to just be asleep. They don't want to go through, they don't want to be cognitive as they're going through their treatment, which is understandable. But Ella she didn't like the way that made her feel to just sleep through her days and accomplish nothing. So she kept telling them, I don't want that. I don't want to go to sleep, unless it was night. She just said, I don't want that kind of nausea med. So it took a long time for them to find something that didn't put her asleep, but helped with the nausea. Because like she said, the first round was brutal. I was like, they said she'd only be there for 3 days. Why, or 2 or 3 days? Why isn't she not coming home after a week? And just left her really, really unable to eat anything that first round.
Okay. So what time of the year was this at? So is this during school? Is this during the summer?
We started treatment in November, but I've been homeschooled all through middle school, and that
Okay.
8th grade year, I had a choice of going to the public school or homeschooling,
Uh-huh.
and I decided to homeschool that year, which was very helpful because I could still get my schoolwork and stuff done and not fall behind in anything.
Oh, wow. So that's kind of a hidden blessing there too.
Yeah, there's
Thanks,
lots
Mom and
of
Dad,
them. There's lots of them throughout her journey. That was one we were so grateful not to have to pull her out of a school system.
Wow.
So-
What, that's a great question then is, are there other blessings that you've seen through this process that you'd be willing to share with us, that maybe especially some of them that you don't recognize at the time, and then you look back and you're like, wow, that was definitely God's hand in this?
So many. That one specifically, just she already had all of her schoolwork that she knew she would have for the year. We truly were blessed by our community, people in our parish. They all just came in and just did things for us and supported us, our family, in so many ways. With 7 kids, it was, concerning, like, how do we both get to go with Ella? But our family just said, you need to be there. So we're taking care of everything. And then another hidden blessing is my husband's job that he's been at for years and years and years. He was able to do a lot of it remotely. I think,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think through COVID, everybody found out like what they could and couldn't do remotely. And
Yeah.
some of it he does on site, but he was able to still work, and he took Ella to most of her treatments.
That is
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Wow. Ella, is there anything specifically that you wanted to add, or?
Not really. There's just mainly a lot on our trip that we'll get to eventually, but
Okay.
that's where like a ton
right.
of them happen.
Ella
too.
doesn't want to spoil everything for us. She's like, hold on, man. Okay, sorry. So thanks for putting the brakes on, because sometimes I get a little ahead of myself here. I'm going to break in really quickly to congratulate Megan Augustine. She
know
is
her.
our trivia. You know her?
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
fantastic.
a CYO director at our parish.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you for doing that, Megan. CYO directors, that is a blessing to have great CYO directors. And so thank you, Megan. And congratulations at being our trivia winner. We will put your name into a drawing. And then at the end of the day, everybody's names that are in there, we will draw one out. And whoever's name we draw, they will win a $50 gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hayes. And Jerome and Angela Schmeidler are the owners of that store. If you've not been in there, please, please, please go in there. I mean, it's one of those places where you go in and you just automatically feel at peace. It's such a beautiful store right down off of Main Street on 10th there. And go support them. Tell them thank you for supporting us. And let's all make them known that they are a blessing to our community. So congratulations, Megan. You guys are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-Thon. His mercy endures forever. Our Care-a-Thon goal is $125,000. Please call 785-621-4110 or donate at dvmercy.com. All right, we are in with Ella and Shannon Fikan, and we're talking about their journey with finding out that Ella had cancer at 14 years of age. And so we've talked a little bit about learning about that, a little bit about, what it was like getting the treatment and stuff. But we really want to get into this Blessed Chiara, especially since I don't know anything about her. I bet a lot of people don't. And so that's maybe the first thing is, how did you come across her? When did you start praying through her intercession? Anything you kind of want to get us started down the road of who is she? How did you find out?
I don't even know if Ella knows this. I had actually heard about Blessed Chiara Badano long before Ella's cancer journey through my friend Sarah. She just has a passion and a love for saints. And she was like, look at this blessed that is like lived in this century that we grew up in. And you can even find videos of her and listen to her voice and things like that. And so I had actually learned about her when Ella was probably just a toddler.
Okay.
And just by God's grace, I think she came to mind when Ella started all of her cancer journey. Did you hear about her before then? Before
No.
we talked about her?
Okay. Where do you guys know, where is Blessed Chiara from?
She's
Any idea?
from Sassuolo, Italy.
Okay. Wow.
It's just a small town, like up in the mountains, and you go from like the ocean to the beach, like
It's the
ocean to
the
the mountains
Ligurian
very
Sea,
quickly.
Oh, wow. So you have studied a little on her. Do you have any idea when she lived? Any idea what time period?
I think she was born like 70. Oh, I lost
She'd
it.
be
Like
like
73 or something, somewhere in there.
She'd be like
October
50,
29th.
almost 60. By,
Okay.
Like if she is still alive
I just
now.
remember thinking she was very similar in age to my older sister, is what I remember.
Gotcha.
So her birthday for sure is October 29th because they consider that her feast day as well.
Okay.
So,
And so, yeah, she's still very new to us, right, in our generation and stuff like that. Another one that you guys might know about is Blessed Carlo Acutis.
yes. Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're both smiling. Those
from Europe.
those on the radio can't see it, but yes, they both shook their heads and, oh yeah, absolutely. So let's get back to then Blessed Chiara and her intercession. So Mom, you said you knew about her.
Mhm.
Did you then start telling Ella, start telling others? What's the process look like for you as to how her intercession started to play a big role in this process?
I felt like Ella needed a spiritual companion. I've read about certain saints that they just had those special companions that they asked to intercede for them, to walk alongside them in life, be it joy or sorrow. And I just felt like Ella needed somebody like that. And I immediately started to kind of research Blessed Chiara, and I think I had known she had died from cancer. I did not realize she had the exact same kind. that
Oh,
Ella
wow.
had. And I just thought, well, that just has to be from God. So I talked to Ella. I didn't want to sway her necessarily. So I had talked to Ella about finding a spiritual companion. And I said, there's one I'd like you to look at and just see. And I think within just a few days of her diagnosis, Ella had kind of latched onto Blessed Kira as a special someone. So is that how you feel it
Yeah.
happened?
That's how I
You
feel.
kind of just like were like, what about this saint? Like, yeah, okay, we'll go with it, and turned out to be a really good spiritual companion.
Okay. Oh, I love how you guys put that, having that spiritual companion, because we don't often think about that, with our guardian angels, with the saints. Sometimes we kind of feel like they're up there and away from us, and maybe they can hear us, but, not really, hey, this person can walk with me on this journey. So that's pretty awesome. I love how you put it that way. Um, how can you take us then through you're now into this process, you're receiving treatment, you're starting to ask Blessed Chiara to walk with you on this. What does it look like after that as you start going through this?
Well, we always say the Angel of God prayer every night, and so we started praying the prayer to her also every night.
Yeah, the intercessory prayer that
Okay.
you read at the
And
beginning.
that's the one that we read
Yeah.
at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So
And we kind of spread that out to all our family, all our friends, just anybody who said, what can we do? And we said, pray for her intercession, and talk to them a little bit about how, she's a blessed. In her canonization process, she would need a miracle to be considered a saint. And just everyone just really took to that, I think, for us, obviously, because Ella's still here.
Yeah.
So, but just spread that prayer, spread information about Blessed Kira in that manner to anybody who asked.
Wow. I've got a note here that I want to break in and say. So Rich Dortzweiler, a good friend of mine. Thank you for listening, Rich. Great young man. I guess I say young, but he's he's 2 years older than me, and I'm not as young anymore. Anyway, yes, great young man. And anyway, he pledged $100, and so thank you so much, Rich. But even I would say more important is he says he's been praying for Ella and
Thank
your
you.
family through your journey, and also knows Luke Schrader.
Oh,
They've
huh.
worked harvest together. So, yeah.
I think
So,
we sat by him at Mass the other day.
okay, most likely you probably did. And since Rich sent that message in, I also want to ask that anybody who is listening this morning, go back to the beginning of this program, find us on YouTube, something like that, and find this prayer. I'm holding it up to Blessed Chiara, and say some prayers through her intercession for Ella, because there's no reason why our entire listening audience can't do that. And that's what we do best. So that
Thank
would be
you.
a blessing if we could get even more people praying for Ella. Let's get back to it then. All right. So we're journeying, we're trying to journey with you guys here. And as you're praying through the intercession of Blessed Chiara, is there anything that really sticks out as to, this is something that she really helped me with on this journey, or anything like that?
I don't know. The fact that she was still a teenager when she went through it also helped a lot, because I felt like somebody my age like knew what it was like, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Mom, anything for you?
I'm trying to think if I can say it without crying. Ella's treatment plan included surgery, and that so she started in November, and at the end of January, she had her surgery. And I spent a lot of the time out there in Denver with her, in Colorado with her, and we had received a beautiful book about Blessed Chiara's life, and Ella had read it, but I hadn't had the chance yet to kind of read through it. And um, just knowing that she had the same cancer, that she had gone through similar things as Ella, but she had passed away. helped me really process like and offer up and surrender Ella and say, God, this is what we desire. But even if that's not what your will is, like, we still want to be faithful to you. And so I think that's when I really felt Blessed Kira walking with me, with Ella, is just through those times when it just felt impossible, and just knowing that God had her at all times. So,
Oh my goodness.
sorry,
That is
I didn't know if I
amazing.
could say all that.
No, that's wow. Yes, God bless you for being able to get that out, because that's when things challenge us, I don't know how people without faith do it.
Right.
I mean, how difficult is that to not be able to turn to God, not be able to turn to the saints and say, okay, you walked this. Can you walk it with me? Or also, that's got to be a very difficult prayer. I've prayed that prayer in my life, but nothing to this extent. Mine was generally about a change of job or something. And so, you go, sure, that's a big deal in my life, but nothing like this. And so that had to be, a prayer of surrender to, okay, God, whatever you're going to do, we still want to be faithful to you. Wow, God bless you for that. That is, what a testimony to us who are living it. What was your prayer process like, Ella, throughout this whole thing?
I don't know. We just prayed the prayer, I guess, every day. And I guess I always like to bring like a little portable crucifix with me just to set up in my hospital room.
Okay. Wow. Looking on our divine Lord at all times. And wow, what a blessing. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to take one quick break as I get to our next trivia question. So we do 2 trivia questions throughout each hour. And unfortunately, that means I have to break away from our awesome guests, but I'll try not to do it for too long. Please call 785-621-4110 with your guest, or, call that same number, 785-621-4110, to donate also. Our second trivia question is, Chiara Badano was given the name Luce, not sure how you would say that, because maybe it's a Latin. So, she was given the name Luce by her, we'll say Luce, I think that's probably better, by her mentor and guide, Chiara Lubick, what does Luce mean? Oh, wow. You could go back to the beginning of this program and find it.
I didn't mean to give it away.
Chiara Badano was given the name Luce, Luce, by her mentor and guide, Chiara Lubick. What does Luce mean? Is it A, wind, B, light, C, fire? A, wind, B, light, C, fire. Call 785-621-4110. Wow, I really butchered that. Sorry. So we want to get back to Ella and Shannon Fikan. They are blessing us with their testimony. They came in from Colby last night, and we're here this morning so that they could tell us about Ella's journey with osteosarcoma. So I want to back up just a little bit and say, what is osteosarcoma? There's lots of different kinds of cancer, but can you tell us exactly what it is?
I only know that it's a bone cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. It starts in kind of the soft tissue, and has a tendency it usually affects long bones, and it usually affects kids in their growth stage. But like I said, it's extremely rare. 3 in a million a year diagnosed with it. So Ella specifically it can grow out of the bone. So it starts in the soft tissue of the bone, the marrow, and the long bones. And then it sometimes will grow out. And that was another blessing. Ella's grew out just directly around her bone and didn't affect much of the soft tissue in the area. So it was another benefit that God just designed for us. So.
Okay. Really quickly, Richard Dorswater, man, Rich, you are picking up on things today, sir. Rich wins that book that we were giving away, The Epic Saints, Wild, Wonderful, and Weird Stories of God's Heroes. Rich, if you get a chance, can I borrow that? by Sean McAfee, and that was compliments of Heil and Ann Huguenin. They are owners and funeral directors of Hayes Memorial Chapel of Hayes. So thank you, Heil and Ann. And Rich is also our trivia winner. Chiara Badano was given the name Luce, Luce, by her mentor and guide, Chiara Lubick. What does Luce mean? Was it wind, fire, or light? And it was light. So congratulations, Rich. We'll get you in that drawing, sir. All right, back to Ella and Shannon once again, and hopefully we won't break in too many more times here. Walking in this process for you then, as you started receiving that treatment, did it, I don't know how this goes. So, I'm an outsider talking to somebody who's walked. Did the treatment start working right away? Does it take 6 months? How does something like that go? And has it had a very good effect so far?
So like Ella said, her treatment took about 8 months. They give you like a 29-week plan, and that has different cycles with different chemos. Ella had 2 cycles and then surgery. And after her surgery, it's supposed to kill the tumor, and they test the tumor. They call it necrosis. They test it for tumor death. And so it's supposed to have killed off a large percentage of the tumor before your surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to kind of shrink and stuff like that so they can take it out without affecting too much. The surgeon, she's an excellent surgeon. She said, we want at least 60%. And Ellis came back at 10% necrosis, which is really bad.
Okay.
So the chemo, I don't want to give anybody false hope. This treatment plan works really well for bone cancer. It's what they use. It's what they've got. They didn't sway from that afterwards. So we knew that the chemo wasn't really that effective on her tumor, but it's the best that they have. So they continued the course with her chemos in the treatment plan afterwards, because after surgery, you have 4 more cycles. So you have more after than before, because they want to make sure they eradicate every cancer cell, because it's such an aggressive form of cancer. They don't even stage it like 1, 2, 3, 4. They just call it high grade, because it's just really aggressive. So you have more after your surgery than before, because they're trying to kill every last bit of it.
Okay. Wow.
So
that process has probably been a little bit tough, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
They said you're going to not want to come back, but you have to.
yeah.
And we very much felt that, afterwards you're like, especially knowing like this doesn't do as much as it should for Ella. That was really hard to just continue to go back each time. But just really trying to trust our oncologists. He's saying this is the best treatment we have for this. We're going to stay the course.
Okay.
So.
Wow. Well, I've got Maria Ballman calls in and says that Ella was one of her students.
Yes.
And she's been and continues to pray for you. So thank you very much, Maria. Maybe we can then get into a little bit more of Blessed Chiara's life, and the canonization process. And is your story a part of this process at all, or anything involved with it?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know if they're keeping track of it or not, but it definitely felt like there was, when we went on our trip to Italy, a little bit of a miracle, because after surgery, like, they have my leg locked straight in a brace for 6 or 8 weeks, and then they slowly give me degrees to bend. And I had like a little bit of bending, but like my leg just wouldn't go back straight because of like a contracture in my muscles. And so when we went on our trip and we were at the tomb, I don't think I really even noticed it, but my leg was straight. And it wasn't like a normal walk, but I walked.
So you hadn't been able to up to that point, and now you're able to walk a little bit and move a little bit more than you have been able to. And
We might have to back up because I don't think people
Yeah,
realize that we
I was-
went on a pilgrimage.
I was just
there.
going to ask that. Thank you. Because wait a minute.
Yeah.
Take us through that. Thank you.
So we knew that the treatment wasn't entirely effective for Ella and killing the cancer cells. And so we had them do scans midway. They usually wait and they do them at the end, but we said we don't want to continue this treatment if it doesn't work. So they did some imaging midway, and the images they thought so osteosarcoma has a tendency to metastasize to lungs first, and usually
Okay.
that's really bad. And so she's actively receiving chemo. They do images. They find four spots in her CT scan of her chest, or a chest X-ray, I think is what it was. So the doctors they're coming to us with news that like this is really bad. This treatment doesn't work. We're going to have to switch to something more aggressive, and it will either work or it won't work. And when I asked him, well, what's next if it doesn't work? The oncologist said, well, we just send Ella home. So that was
Oh my
pretty
goodness.
devastating. Yeah, it was. So it was really hard news. My husband was there with her, and he just, by God's grace, had the foresight, because it had gotten really hard. Ella was really sick. She had lost a tremendous amount of weight. She just was very sickly. She had gotten a couple infections. She had, had been sick off and on because you have no immune system. And he just had the foresight, my husband did, to just say, I think we need a week off. We just need a week off. We need to go home. We need to pray about this. And we just need a break from it. And that evening, when I talked to him, I said, that trip I wanted to take Ella on when this was all over, we got to go now. And he said, yes, you do.
Wow.
So within 24 hours, we had a trip booked to Italy. And we wanted to take Father Brian Lager, who was here yesterday with us, because I wanted it to be a pilgrimage where she received the sacraments and all of the things. And he said, yes. And then he said, maybe not. And at some point in there, Ella's godmother, Sarah, had found out we were going, and Sarah had very unintrusively said, if you're open to it and if there's room for me, I would love to go. And when Father couldn't, we said, you're it. You want to go? And she said yes immediately, which is a big sacrifice for her, because she has, all of her kids and her missionary work that she does through Focus. So that was a big sacrifice for her too. But Thursday evening, I booked us a flight. And by Monday we were on our trip.
Wow.
So we flew to Italy, stayed along the coast, which was just a short drive to Sestao each day. And we spent 3 days traveling up the mountain. We thought that was providential, going up a mountain. Moses goes up a mountain, and like everybody in the Bible goes up a mountain. Goes up the mountains. And so we went up the mountain. I was only gonna go a couple days with Ella and spend time in prayer. And that last day, she said, nope, we need to go again. And each day just held blessing after blessing after blessing. And I have never experienced something in my life where when you're doing God's will and it's God's will, he just takes care of everything, like all the details. We could spend hours talking about the trip itself. But there was just so many blessings in all of that. And that's what Ella's talking about with being at the tomb and experiencing what my friend Sarah would call God winking at us.
Okay. So you went to Blessed Chiara's tomb.
Yeah.
Her hometown. Yep. We went there.
Oh my goodness. Now when you talk about having this saint that walks with you, you've actually walked where she walked.
Yeah.
And so I imagine for you, that makes it very personal then, and very much more, now I really can talk to her in a different way. What was that like, going to Italy and visiting her home, visiting her tomb?
I don't know. It's just really great. Like, it didn't feel like anything outside of home or anything. Just, I don't know. It just felt like normal, I guess.
Was there anything really memorable? I mean, you already talked like, well, I couldn't walk as good, and then I was able to walk better. That's a pretty awesome little miracle there. Was there anything else that you experienced that you just would really like to share with all of us while you were there?
Well, we met some of Chiara Badano's
People that knew her.
Yeah, people that knew her. And
one gentleman grew up with her. Oh, he was awesome, wasn't he?
yeah.
Tell him about.
Can you tell us about him a little bit?
Yeah, he owned
or he worked
in an ice cream shop, and he had a little candy shop connected to it. But yeah, everything in Italy's small, like everything. And so they kind of just worked, and then after lunch they closed down for a little bit, and then they opened up for supper, and that's just,
they're very hospitable.
yeah,
Just
very nice.
yeah.
Wow.
We didn't know what to expect when we got there. But like I said, we were just trusting that God would take care of everything.
Yeah.
And Sarah had been in contact with the foundation that that's involved with Blessed Chiara's canonization process, and the person that's responsible for that was like her best friend growing up. So
Kika? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. So Sarah's in contact with her. And she says, we're in Saseo, just so you know. She's texting her, and she said, "Oh, I'll send Giuliano." And we were like, "Giuliano?" What's that?
Just some random guy?
We're like, who is, well, at the time we're like, "Giuliano, is that a girl? Is that a guy? Like, who are we watching for?" And he just shows up the back of our vehicle, and we're like, "Giuliano." He's like, "See, yeah." And then he's so friendly. Just took us, and you want cappuccinos? Yes. He's asking Ella, do you want gelato? Yes, we definitely do. And just, we're so kind, so generous. It's just a small town. We're from Colby. Colby's a small town. This is much smaller, but like Ella had mobility issues, and they're like, we'll find you a wheelchair. So we end up getting a wheelchair just from what we would consider like an EMS or EMT place. And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, take it for the day." There's no strings attached. No strings attached.
Yeah.
No, just take it. You're good. And the next day, Giuliano wasn't with us, and I went back in. I was like, trying to say wheelchair in Italian, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just take it." They were just so friendly and hospitable, and just, I'm sure they knew we were outsiders.
Yeah, I would think
because
so.
it was such a small town.
Well, that is awesome, and that's so great to hear that that you were able to experience that hospitality. Go able to visit her tomb, and imagine you prayed at her tomb.
We got to have mass at her tomb. I was so concerned about Ella
wow.
receiving the sacraments. Sarah said, "Do you want to have mass at the tomb?" And they're asking. I was like, "Yeah." Well, they said the chapel, which we thought. We didn't know what the chapel was, but they were talking about her tomb because they're set up kind of like a mausoleum or a chapel is what they call it.
Okay.
So we had mass there. So Ella got to receive the sacraments there. And then the third day that we weren't going to go back, we decided we would. The parish priest there in town gave Ella the anointing of the sick. And so there she got the sacraments again.
Awesome.
It was beautiful. He was trying
Wow.
to say it in English, and I said, just say it in Italian. It's the same everywhere. God's universal. Just say it in Italian. And it was so beautiful.
Wow. Anything you wanted to add to that, Ella?
Not really.
Okay.
Our trip was very blessed with like solemn moments, but also there was some funny stuff that happened too.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to
Don't
share
comment
a
about
quick
my
funny
driving
story,
too
or?
much, though.
Can't decide.
Okay.
Tell them what you felt like driving in Italy was like.
Mario Kart.
Really? It's that rough, huh?
It is.
Yeah,
kind
there's
of
no
wild.
signaling. It's just go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's like some of the drivers around here, but not all of them.
Oh, much worse. The white lines are optional apparently in Italy, so it was a little crazy. And we're going up a winding mountain, so you never knew what you were going to encounter.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no parking, so we had some very tight parking situations,
Oh my
like a
goodness.
31-point turn. So
That was only once.
Wow, that's hilarious. Okay, let me break in really quickly. Dave and Janet Schmidt from Dave's Auto Repair pledged $2,000 in matching funds. That is awesome. So Dave and Janet know them well also. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you. They are underwriters for us. And great people in our community. We have so many great people. Thank you for listening, Dave and Janet. Thank you for your matching funds. So you guys know what that means then, which is a blessing because we ran out of our first dose of matching funds yesterday, but now we've just been injected with another $2,000. So that means if you call in and you give us $20, it automatically becomes 40. 100 becomes 200. You get it. Call 785-621-4110 and let's use Dave and Janet's money. That's what they put it out there for. What a blessing we have from their gift. Thank you so much. Call us 785-621-4110. We have just a few minutes left. We're talking to Ella and Shannon Fikan, talking about Ella's diagnosis with osteosarcoma, talking with them also about Blessed Chiara, who is a patron that she is praying through the intercession of through this entire process. And let's maybe kind of finish our thoughts with that is why is Blessed Chiara a good saint for young people? Anything else you guys want to tell us about her intercessory power through this whole process?
We should finish our story when we got home. What happened when we got home from Italy, Ella?
Well, the spots were actually not cancerous at all because I was like sick with a
That's what the doctor
sore
said.
throat.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The spots that were on your lungs that they
So-
found before you left, is that correct? Or
We were barely in Italy when the oncologist, because of the time difference, left a voicemail on my phone saying, maybe we want to biopsy these. And when I finally was able to contact him later, I said, why would it be something other than you think it is? And so he gave me some other reasons, and I just asked him to rescan her when we got home, and the scan showed what?
That they shrunk because they were just infections because I was sick
Yeah,
before that. So
that's what they attributed to. I mean, yeah. So we come home from this trip, and they did a complete 180 and said never mind. Basically, they said never mind without saying never mind, and just restarted her treatment plan.
So one way or another, there was a miracle there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you could say the miracle was that wasn't cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, the doctors say, well, maybe that was an infection that we didn't know was there. Or just the fact that we didn't start a new and an aggressive treatment, that instead of starting a different chemo, we were in Italy. We feel like that in and of itself was by God's design.
Wow.
So you're asking, how is she a good saint for young people? I mean, she was young when and she was a light to others. I mean, that's why she was given that name by her mentor. And I just think that people can relate to her. I mean, if you read about her on the website, her mom has comments on there. She is like any other normal kid, and you find out that she enjoyed tennis and she loved hanging out with her friends. Giuliano that we met was one of them. He had pictures and photos of them, when they were younger. I mean, back when we were young, not everybody just had a smartphone to take pictures. So there's not a ton, but you can see those things. Some of the saints from a long, long time ago. I mean, you don't have that tangible evidence of their life.
Yeah.
And and how normal they were. Wow. What do you think, Ella?
Yeah, Ella.
Yeah, like she said, just the fact that she's young, she still, when she couldn't get out of her bed, still called her friends and talked to them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So just a normal young teenager who wants to hang out and talk to their friends, and wow, that is awesome. Well, my family and I will be praying for you tonight. We'll add you to our rosary, but also I'll take that prayer home, and we'll say that prayer through Blessed Chiara's intercession. And I would just ask everybody out there that's listening to do the same. Do you guys have any final thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Prayers work.
Prayers work.
Yeah.
Ella's here, despite all the challenges through her journey. Her scans the last 2 times have come back good. They give you like a 10-year plan for what your life's going to look like when you leave.
Okay.
So, I mean, we are still walking through some of that. She's still rehabilitating her knee because apparently you can't do that when you're receiving chemo. So, but she's here, she's healthy, and we are so grateful for that.
That is awesome. Ella, anything from you?
Not really.
All right, just pray for me.
Thank you.
We will do that.
Yeah.
Just mainly thank you to all who are praying for me. It's kind of funny when come back and like I'm around and don't have to do chemo. All these little kids are like, "Hi, Ella," and I'm like, I know who they are, but don't really like know them.
Uh-huh.
Just because they've been praying for me a lot, they just think it's so cool and they're adorable.
That is
They
so
are
cool.
adorable.
And we know that little ones are Jesus's favorites. So their powers are super efficacious. Yeah,
Yes.
get your little ones to pray for Ella also. Thank you so much, Ella and
Thank you,
Shannon.
Chad.
I know it was a bit to be able to be here this morning, but you guys are a blessing to us and to our listening audience. Have a wonderful day and know that, yeah, we will be praying for you.
Thank you.
God bless you guys. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-Thon. We just got to hear a wonderful testimony by Ella and Shannon Fikan. And we want you to continue to support us so that we can have those wonderful people on here. Keep those donations coming. We did just get that $2,000 matching funds from Dave and Janet Schmidt. And so we want to make sure that we get through those funds today. When you donate because of matching funds, your $5 becomes 10, your 20 becomes 40. So please call in to 785-621-4110 or donate online at dvmercy.com. You are listening to 101.7 KJDM Lindsborg Salina, 105.7 KMDG Hayes, 88.1 KRTT Great Bend, 88.1 KVDM Hayes, 89.1 KGOH Colby. Thank you all so very much for listening. We are continuing with our Fall Care-a-Thon. His mercy endures forever. And we're about to welcome in a couple of more guests here, Kelton and Jill Steckline. And since we are at the top of the hour, I'm going to remind people of just a couple of things, and then we will get directly to their talk also, because it is going to be such a wonderful talk. Ways to listen. We are on the radio station if you are listening there. We are on live on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also listen on your smart device, so your smartphone. Download the Divine Mercy Radio app, or you can listen through your Amazon Alexa. Wow, let's try to get that tongue working correctly this morning. We do still have, and really, really, really want to do this today. If you are out there listening in the Great Bend, Hoisington, Ellenwood, St. John area, which is KRTT, or the Lindsborg Salina, which also includes Abilene, Minneapolis, McPherson, and Newton area. Both of those areas, we need a new $200 or more donor. The reason we need that is because we want to give you something. We want to give you a book donated by Karen and Doug Marcel. Karen is one of our board members. They donated Sister Maria Faustina Kowalska's Divine Mercy in My Soul. If you're out there online, I'll hold it up here really quickly, and you can see that book. And it is a beautiful little book and would make an awesome addition to your spiritual life. Trust me, this would be absolutely wonderful. And so if you call in from one of those two areas, KRTT or KJDM, and you give $200 or more and you are a brand new donor, we will get you that book. Please call 785-621-4110. Okay. We are at our 8 o'clock hour, and we are welcoming in Kelton and Jill Steckline. But before we do that, let's get to our trivia question. I know this is some of your favorite parts out there. And so we want to